Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. After we finished up building this beautiful masterpiece standing behind me, we're gonna go ahead and get this stabbed in the truck. We got Dave here to help me get it set in since I'm not 100% sure how it's gonna kind of slide into this unit here. We already got the front clip removed, just 2 clips, and it pulled right off. Turns out there was still a little bit of coolant in there, so a little mess already. But I think Donovan or Armor or somebody added this so it doesn't just drop in like normal. You're gonna have to slide the bolt through, get it lined up. But I got everything pretty much out of the way to be able to drop it down. We're gonna get it all bolted up and we'll show you guys how it drops in. All right, so we fought a little bit. We had to grind some of the DOM sleeves down. This one had like a modified motor mount over here, but she is in the truck, installed. Now we could start working on getting the power steering, seeing if the compounds are gonna fit, because I'm not sure about this being in the way or not. And then, yeah, start bolting in sensors and stuff like that, get the trans hooked up, but she is officially in. Okay, so got it kind of set up now. I got the valve cover just loosely on to keep the dirt out, making sure coolant lines fit and stuff like that. Then we got our transmission sitting right over here. Got a matching paint job. So we're gonna go ahead and get this stabbed in. This is a one of our trannies. This is a TCS 27 spline fat input. It has a billet direct drum, a billet rear clutch retainer, has a TCS fat out. It has a Miraging intermediate It has a Murr built 47 valve body, GPC clutches, flex second gear band. Should be a bad little unit. I mean, it's pretty basic, honestly, for this kind of setup, but at the end of the day, like, sometimes that's all you really need. And really, our first event's a dyno, so once we get closer with the trans, if we discover we have some issues, we'll have time to fix it. But yeah, nothing crazy on this. It's really nice working with this front clip off though. We got it up on the lift now. We were just going over some wiring, just seeing what was what with Lenny and all them. Now we got a quad disc DPC converter from Phil in our freshly painted transmission. Now it's time to bolt it up. Nothing really special about this other than we can't do the transfer case at the same time, unfortunately, due to the roll cage, but it is what it is, I guess. Transmission cross member, it's not fully bolted, but it's in with the bolts. We got the custom little mount here. We got our transfer case. We had to go out and get some hardware, but we are chugging right along. I gotta do some wiring and stuff, change out the trans lines, but you know, progress is progress. This truck came with a rear drive shaft that we are going to use. The front drive shaft, however, will be the exact same as our other one, so we're gonna put a fresh one in there and keep that one as a spare. All in all, this transmission mount, pretty cool. Kind of a pain when you don't know how it goes together, but now that we got it figured out, pretty nice. It's 1 bolt, 2 bolt, and then this is a support, so this will be the 3rd bolt. This nice little energy suspension bracket here. So now now that we have the engine pitch and everything like that, we can start working up top. I might put the rear drive shaft in just while I'm down here, but all in all, not bad. All right, we're gonna start working on this harness over here, getting all the EGTs and everything figured out. Should be a lot of fun. Guys, we are back again for another exciting installment on the UCC truck. I went ahead and I started laying out the harness. Now keep in mind, DDP and armor, they labeled some of it. I think some of it probably fell off over time. So just going through it, we got pretty much all the engine harness done. The 3 FCAs, the rail pressure sensor, which I actually found our old extension harness because their rail pressure sensor used to sit down here. Ours is gonna sit here, no big deal. And I just kind of started laying stuff out. All the injector plugs, this leaking fuel line that continues to leak. And then inside here, we have, for the most part, I think some of the plugs might have gotten like cut or chopped or whatever, but this is the intake air temp sensor. I'm not exactly sure what this is. This looks like the data link plug, but you know, we're gonna figure it out. You know, we don't, it's not like we're on a crunch or anything, but yeah, tonight's mission, I think I'm gonna work on the shifter. I kind of slipped in some coolant over there earlier today, so my knee's not feeling too hot. But basically, in order to fire this thing up, we're gonna need a shifter and a few other things on the inside, like mounting this air dog, which leads me to my next thing. We checked with the slicks to see kind of how much room we had in here. I don't think I had as much room as I thought I was going to, so I'm not sure on this air dog. Originally, I'd hoped to mount it like right here, but I don't think that'll work, unfortunately. So we'll go back to the drawing board on that. But for tonight, we're putting this shifter in right here, just your regular B&M. I like to use stuff that I've used previous. I just feel like the muscle memory is there. So this is, oh my goodness, essentially the same shifter that's in the 07. The 07s is just polished. So we have our shifter bracket. Now we are going to be using Logan Built's shifter cable entrance. So the only thing we'll need out of here is the lever. But unlike normal, we are going to use the micro switch for our neutral safety switch. Reason being, we have to be able to have this truck not start in park or neutral. And because all the factory wiring for our transmission's gone, basically what we're going to do is intercept the starter signal wire, which I believe is this guy right here. This one, I believe, is the starter ignition wire right here. So we're basically just going to intercept that, run that into the cab here, and make sure that this truck will not start in park, or will not start in any gear other than park or neutral. That also allows us, because 48 cases are getting so hard to find, excuse this mess, I've been looking for stuff, we're going to put a 47 RE in the rear for our backup trans. I have all the good planets for it. It's just a little easier to get, a little cheaper, and really we don't need the TTVA case. So other things, the power steering mount, I was kind of waiting on just Donovan to answer some questions, Lenny to answer some questions. So the power steering does in fact mount with a factory bracket, which is awesome. The tack pickup is certainly going to be a challenge. I'm not sure how they did that. I don't know. I'm still waiting on the answer for that, but everyone has been really helpful. Everyone else has full-time jobs as well. The other, I guess, hurdle we got to get over is all the return lines. We have two here. One of them's for the air dog. One of them's for that. And then I think this is actually a 8 as well. So we might Y these two together in a 1/8 here, but that remains to be seen. You guys also saw me fumbling around over here. Let me show you what we were working on. We got the old compounds. These are the ones that Shad, Meyer, and I put together. This is a GT55 up top, a HX82 below. We're gonna give this a try. This will be for the dyno portion. I believe for the drag race, we will run just a single, either a GT55 or S400. I'm not too sure yet, but we'll see there. We just want to be really light. So an S400 with our 2 gates here will be plenty to, you know, essentially spray our way to hopefully a good pass. Our catch can breathers actually worked perfect, which is nice. And then all of our EGT ports in our stainless manifold fit what Dynamite already had going on down here. So essentially we're waiting on a couple sensors. The other thing we're waiting on is the drive shaft straps from Canada. Those are on their way here. And then we could actually finalize the trans. And then just, you know, you guys know how it is. This last, we'll call this 30%. It's really gonna be a struggle here, but here we have our AirDog 5G mounted up. So you guys can see in the time lapse, a lot of thought went into the routing. So at 90's off there, straight in, 90's off there. And then originally we were gonna feed that block from the back. Now we just fed it from the front. You can see it right there, okay? And then the return, I don't have any push lock for the, or AN, so push lock's gonna send for right now. We did add some like vacuum caps to make sure we don't get cut there. All I did was I took a piece of 3-inch angle. I cut quite a bit off the back side here, welded it here, drilled 4 holes. Then I welded it, obviously. Mounted this, tucked it up nice and tight. We still have plenty of clearance for the tires. If you kind of look, the natural line there, you can see where Armor tucked everything in, so we're still inboard here. And you guys did see me turn the tires. And then the return back to the tank. Because these are 10s, I'm so happy. So it'll be 10 single Y right here into these 2 6s right here. And then this other return here will obviously be to over there. But yeah, we had to get the old, I think they were in a Waterman, so I don't know, maybe I'll regret that later, but I've never had good luck with Watermans. I really like my AirDogs. This is a air pressure regulated unit, which will work out nice because we'll get air from the charge pipe. And then we also have still plenty of room for our charge pipe to shoot through. I kind of foresee the charge pipe kind of going like this. The only issue is the intercooler. Not quite sure. I think the intercooler is like right here, so we might have to play around with that a little bit, but we didn't screw ourselves too much. The AirDog is in a place where I could still lean in, get to everything on the engine. Didn't take up a lot of space, didn't mount it down there. And realistically, if this was a street truck, obviously we wouldn't mount it here, but given that it's a race truck, it's really not in a bad spot. I wanted to go up here, but the problem with up here was I was worried about infringing on the hood. If the belt broke, it's out of the way. I wanted to keep the fuel lines nice and short, which I believe we did. I mean, we have about a 12-inch feed line, a 3-inch supply line, and about a 2 foot to the distribution block, 2 foot return, 1 foot feed. So I think we'll be okay. Obviously we still have to wire it, but that will probably be another night. As with any of these big projects, I just kind of chip away little by little by little. We had a pretty exciting day today. And yeah, just business owner life. So anyway, this is where we're gonna leave it tonight. Obviously I'm gonna clean up this disaster, but we'll keep this video going on. I know I said I was gonna do the shifter. I was just feeling more air dog like tonight. So air dog's mounted. I love it. It draws a lot of attention to their pump, and they've always treated me really, really well. So it looks good, fits good, should perform extremely well. Again, we've done well over 2,000 on one of these smaller pumps, and this is something that Kevin, the engineer at AirDog, I don't even know how big this one is, but I told him I wanted at least 2,500 horsepower. He said, here you go. And that's the one we got. So still got to do power steering, wiring, shifter, but AirDog mounted tonight. Back again, we have figured out this water problem. So the issue we're having is we have wastegates that sit right here where this water line's at, and as you can tell, it's already gotten hot once. So what we're gonna do, remove that clamp back there and run the line down with the other water line, and then I ordered a 90-degree fitting here that has a male end, and then we'll drop it down, and that should give us enough clearance. It'll basically kind of probably end up sitting pretty close to the alternator, but it should work out, because unfortunately this really is not an option. Okay, now what we were gonna do last night, didn't get around to it. I got a wild hair up my butt and decided to do the AirDog, and I'm glad I did, because the AirDog actually needed a bunch more fittings to make it work. So while we wait on those fittings, we can work on this shifter here. It's a B&M shifter, Magnum grip, and this is a set of lockup overdrive buttons from John Strato over at Granby Truck Shop. They're gonna go in here. We're gonna get it modified, get this shifter mounted, and basically get it wired. Now on this one, I am gonna have to run the part neutral safety switch again, so that way we have complete interchangeability with 47, 48 transmissions. So I am gonna have to put the micro switch in here. I'm gonna get to work and I will show you guys kind of what it looks like all together. Pretty easy on these buttons here. All you do is remove these screws, which this is the hardest part of the job. These screws suck to get out. They Loctite them from the factory, makes them a nightmare. So just be careful. The shifter all mocked up here. We have the wiring kind of loose, but we got our neutral safety switch right here, which those neutral safety wires will tie into the starter trigger wire. And same shifter as always. It's gated, so 1, 2, 3, neutral, reverse lockout, reverse park, and then our GTS lockup and overdrive buttons. And we got the cable kind of ran. We started screwing around with the AirDog harness, so I think what'll happen, the battery hookups and the plug obviously are going to go through the firewall, but the relay and everything I believe will mount in here, and we'll just have it triggered. Now because we're not running a air to water intercooler, we'll probably grab the intercooler button off the arc panel, and yeah, decent progress for a night, I suppose. We're working on the wiring. We have the OEM coolant temperature sensor, which is kind of back here in the head. We have our data logger coolant temp and our Keating rear freeze plug. Don't mind all the adapters. We have to. We got our Keating billet front cover for the water pump on. We have our crank harness on. I've been talking with Donovan. We got a majority of the wiring figured out. So this will be our inner stage boost. We have the alternator, which I think I've already talked about, but that's finalized now. We have determined that this sensor, we're probably not gonna use it. The coolant pressure, we're probably not gonna use that one either. But if we need it, we, you know, we'll figure it out. I've also been thinking about potentially monitoring crankcase pressure. I'm not sure if we'll be able to, but yeah, so that's what we've been doing. We've determined that all these wires down here, right here, are no longer needed. And then we also have been working over on this side, and we made a little plate right there for the wires to zip tie to. We have our oil pressure sensor for the data logger hooked up. We figured out what that was. We got rid of some non-important wiring over here for other things that Donovan had. This right here, we're still waiting to hear on that one, but we're slowly getting there. The only thing that kind of sucks at this point is total boost. I don't have a sensor for that. Maybe we can make one longer or whatever, but we're kind of stuck there. We also don't have a sensor for fuel pressure, which fuel pressure, honestly, we could run on like a auto meter or whatever, and not the end of the world. It would be nice to have it all in one place. We also got our 8-pin harness plug for the 48 ordered, and then we're kind of starting to figure out what's going on under the dash here. And then the other thing is we got our replacement window net ordered. We got our extra solenoid drivers ordered. So just kind of, you know, chopping, getting it done. And some more progress. We got our AirDog air pressure regulator. So it basically comes up here, sits right there, easy to adjust. We got the other part that's got to go in this charge pipe done. We got all of our harness plugged in over here. We got our belt tensioner, our fan pulley, which it's still loose because I'm not sure if you can slip the belt in or not, so we left that loose. But yeah, just slowly plugging away. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I just realized I have earbuds in, but it's fine. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This is kind of that last 10% everyone always talks about. We got the engine in, transmission installed. We got our parts from Canada, so we were able to get the drive shafts in. We got some extra sensors. We figured out the wiring, finalized some wiring, got all the pulleys put on. Basically, our next video in this series is going to be fabbing up the turbo system, just the intercooler and pipes. And then we're also going to have a little bit on first fire, retorque, and stuff like that. But I want to get these videos out quicker to you guys. That way you can enjoy them and kind of be a part of this project and not be seeing this stuff in June after UCC's already come and gone. So hopefully you like this video. Drop a comment down below. Subscribe if you are not already. And as always, I'll catch you all in the next one.